So let's talk about the Samyang 100mm f2.8 macro lens, which comes for a lot of different mounts. It comes for Canon EF, Nikon F, Pentax K, Sony A, Canon M, Fujifilm X, Samyang, Sony E mount and Micro Four Thirds. The lens comes with a nice lens hood and the little storage pouch that you saw, and yeah, it feels well made, and it has an aperture that looks like this, and as you will see later in this video, the bokeh is very nice. The feeling of quality in the lens is excellent. The turning of the rings is good, even though maybe the aperture is a little bit hard to get exactly where you want it. Sometimes it kind of ticks 2 ticks when you just want it to tick 1. But other than that, I think that the build quality is impeccable. The lens is completely manual, obviously, no autofocus here, not even any electrical contacts. The focusing ring has a pretty long throw and I found it very easy to use it for focusing. The lens will be a little bit longer if you buy it for a mirrorless camera, then you have this little extension here, but for DSLR it is a bit shorter to adjust for the flange distance. Here you'll see some example photos that I took with this lens several years ago, because this was actually my very first macro lens. And the reason I bought it was that at the time I had a Sony A7 camera and there were only 2 native macro lenses for that camera, the Sony 90mm and the Samyang 100mm. And since I didn't want to spend like $1,000 for my first macro lens, I went with the Samyang, and I was very happy with it, and I used it a lot to learn the basics of macro photography. And what you're looking at right now are some of my favorite photos that I took with this lens at that time. Some of these photos are a bit cropped in, and that is what you have to do when you're using a 1:1 magnification macro lens, because when you're shooting insects sometimes they are very small, and with that magnification you have to crop in a bit to get the insect to cover a lot. The optics in this lens are excellent. This is f2.8 and as you can see it is very sharp. But all the photos you just saw were from 2016. And today I went out with this lens in 2021 to see if it still holds up and to update my thoughts about this lens. Unfortunately, it's basically still winter here in Sweden, even though it's May, so there aren't a lot of insects out still. So I spent a big part of my photo walk taking photos like this one of branches and yeah, small things that stick out at f2.8, and I find it very enjoyable to use a long focal length lens like this to take such photos, because I actually think they look pretty neat and they are pretty easy to take. One thought that pops up in my head when I'm using this lens is that it is very similar to the Laowa 100mm. The weight is almost the same. Actually the Laowa is a bit lighter, that one weighs 650 grams while this one weighs 740 grams. So this one is almost 100 grams heavier. But the size is almost identical and the price is also very similar, around $450. Both of them are really good optically, but there is obviously one very big difference between these two lenses, and that is that the Laowa goes to 2 times magnification and the Samyang only goes to 1 time magnification. And to me this is a very important difference, because it means that, for example, this photo here of this fly, the fly could have been twice as big in the photo, which is maybe what I would have wanted with the Laowa lens, and that is not possible with the Samyang because it only goes to 1 time magnification. So when the Samyang came out, there were no lenses at all on the market that could go to 2 times magnification, but now when the Laowa lenses exist, I'm not sure that I would recommend buying the Samyang, even though it's a great lens, because you will get more for your money if you buy the Laowa lens. I was not using a flash today, but it worked out pretty well because it was very bright outside with a very thin cloud cover, so I got nice diffused light. And here you can see me in action out in the field while I'm taking a photo. What I often do when it is very bright outside, as it was today, is that I use the external screen to take the photo, and then I look in my EVF to see if the photo came out good or not. And in this case I wasn't really that happy with the composition, so I recomposed a bit, and then I use the external screen and bright yellow focus peaking to set the composition and the focus point in the right place. And here I decide to change to portrait mode. And then when I have set the focus correctly and taken the photo, I have a look again in the EVF to review the photo and see if it turned out good and if it is sharp in the right place or not, so that I may take another photo if I need to improve it anything. But in this case I was happy with the photo, and this is how it turned out, and this is one of my favorite photos from today actually. So to summarize, the Samyang 100mm f2.8 macro lens is a great macro lens. It is very enjoyable to use, and it is well built and holds a high standard of quality. It does not have any optical problems. I couldn't see any chromatic aberrations or any other problems. It is sharp. It's a very good lens, and the only reason I cannot fully recommend it is that the Laowa 100mm lens exists, which is basically the same lens with the same characteristics but with twice the maximum magnification, which makes it a lot better according to me. But if you can find this lens for a good price, maybe an even better price than the Laowa 100mm, then I would warmly recommend it. It is a very good lens. Another thing that I can warmly recommend is my monthly newsletter. It's all about photography and it's all about inspiration. Great photographers, interesting cameras and lenses, and other tips about photography. Go sign up for free at mwroll.com and come join me there. And also, please don't forget to follow me on Instagram to see more of my photos. My name there is mwroll. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please do subscribe to my channel, and we will see each other again in a couple of days. Bye for now, over and out.